After the dust settled in Washington, D.C., and the spider's empire lay in ruins, Chris returned home to his city, expecting a brief respite from the turmoil that had consumed his life for months. But peace was fleeting for someone like him. He knew that as long as the spider was alive, no place was truly safe. As Chris began rebuilding his life, a series of disturbing reports started to surface. The spider's henchmen, those who had managed to escape the earlier crackdown, were regrouping, this time in Mexico. The news hit Chris like a ton of bricks. He had hoped that by capturing the spider, he had eradicated the threat for good, but it seemed that the venom of the spider's influence had spread far and wide. Determined to finish what he started, Chris made up his mind. This time, he wouldn't just dismantle the remnants of the spider's gang, he would hunt down every last member, no matter the cost. His resolve was unshakable. The spider had already caused irreparable damage to his city and the nation's capital. Now, the people of Mexico were in danger. Chris couldn't allow that to happen. With his reputation preceding him, Chris quickly secured cooperation from the highest levels of law enforcement in Mexico. The Mexican authorities, recognizing the severity of the threat, welcomed Chris with open arms, knowing his expertise would be invaluable. Upon arriving in Mexico City, Chris was greeted by the head of the Mexican Federal Police, General Ignacio Montoya, a seasoned officer known for his no-nonsense approach to crime fighting. The two men instantly formed a mutual respect, recognizing in each other the same fierce determination. The first few weeks in Mexico were spent gathering intelligence. Chris and Montoya's team infiltrated the underworld, tracking the spider's movements through a labyrinth of criminal networks. The spider had taken refuge in the most dangerous regions of Mexico, places where law enforcement feared to tread. These were territories ruled by cartels, where violence was the law, and power was the ultimate currency. Chris and his team worked tirelessly, navigating the treacherous landscape of gang wars, corrupt officials, and deep-rooted criminal empires. The spider had integrated himself within these groups. Using his cunning and resources to build alliances with the cartels, promising them control over lucrative drug routes in exchange for protection. It was a symbiotic relationship, one that made the spider nearly untouchable. But Chris was relentless. He orchestrated raids on cartel strongholds, disrupting operations, and capturing key lieutenants who might know the spider's whereabouts. The interrogations were grueling, and the information was often fragmentary, but Chris slowly pieced together a trail that led deeper into the heart of Mexico. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the hunt for the spider became more intense. Chris and Montoya's forces conducted operations across the country, from the bustling streets of Mexico City to the remote deserts of northern Mexico. They faced ambushes, deadly firefights, and the constant threat of betrayal. The spider, true to his name, remained elusive. Always just out of reach, weaving his web of deception and death. The situation reached a boiling point when Chris received a tip from a trusted informant, a member of the spider's inner circle who had decided to turn against his master in exchange for protection.